Hey, Jarens, will we have anything from you today?
Yeah, I'm working with the test case, so
Okay, then
the
go ahead. Yeah,
cleanup.
go ahead and add it to the agenda then, if you would. Cool. Mr. Sharma, Yash, you've got, is this you, Yash? Catalog content error found?
Yeah,
Okay. Is there another one that you're working on as well? Trying to remember.
there is one more issue assigned to me which was related to workspace, but I was first looking into this issue. And most likely I'm able to figure out like I need to update the Docker file which I didn't update it. I wasn't aware of that. So in the Docker file, like we are still having
Wait,
application bundle.
I just want to talk about the agenda, like get the agenda teed up. So you do have a but what's the issue with the workspace again?
I think the in the workspace assign model, there is empty design showing up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Do other people on the call have agenda items that we need to capture before we start?
Yeah, so we are live on YouTube. Lee, do you mind if I start sharing my screen?
No, go ahead.
Just a heads up that for some reason my video is not turning on. There's some camera issues. But I will ask others. So if you have a stable bandwidth, feel free to turn on your videos. It's always nice to talk to, faces. I'm having some trouble turning on my camera, but I'll fix that in the meantime if I could. So yep, I welcome you all to Meshery's development meeting, which is a weekly meeting happening every Wednesday. And so today too, we have a couple of items that we'll be talking about. There are some announcement and celebrations as well. Meshery is 9th fastest growing CNCF project, and we will also be there in the upcoming KubeCon in the next week. Probably it will be next week. And we have a couple of announcements around that too. You all can check out the events that we will be having. And if you know someone or if you yourself are will be there in person, you can visit our booth. So there will be a couple of events that you may be interested into. All right, so let's kick things off, and we'll be following our tradition, and that is if you are joining this call for the very first time, you can go ahead and introduce yourself. So I'll be taking a look at the participants if we have any newcomer on the call. Oscar, is it the first time that you're joining? Okay, looks like they are not connected to audio, so they will not be able to hear whatever I'm trying to say. Ashish, is it the first time that you're joining Site's development call? If yes, do you mind giving your intro? Just a heads up that if you are having any mic or audio issue, you can use chat as well to give your intro. So I think Ashish will be introducing himself in chat. And apart from that, I think all are old timers. Yep, looks like it. So yep, then we'll be starting with the topics. But before that, I will be once again dropping this meeting minutes in chat so that you all have access to it. You can drop in your names and also your items. And yep, that is it. So the first item is from Hargun on Hacktoberfest 24 celebration. So Hargun, do you mind covering this?
Yes, sure. I hope that my screen is visible. So, hello everyone. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of our contributors who contributed to Hacktoberfest via Layer 5. All of them have been awarded with this Layer 5's Hacktoberfest batches. So, I congratulate to all of our amazing contributors and thank them for the contributions. Please make sure to share this batch in your GitHub README profiles as well as on social media. Also, I'd like to encourage all of our contributors to continue contributing to Meshery and keep up the spirit. That's it. Thank you all once again.
Whoa. That's a lot. Wow.
Thank you, Hargun. So this slide will also be up on discussion forum. So Hargun, I was just confirming whether or not we already have that post up.
No, right now we don't. I'll just
Alright.
post and share the link.
Yeah, so you all can also take that link and can share it on your social media handles. So thanks a lot for this celebration, Harkan. Next up, we have this KubeCon initiations for Meshery announcement from Lee. So Lee, do you mind talking about this?
Yeah, hey guys, we got KubeCon North America next week, and there's some Meshery sessions there. So if you're at the conference, of course, you'll be at the Meshery sessions. And if you're not at the conference, it's possible that one or two of these might be recorded and shared, so you can be sure to enjoy it after the fact. Yeah, there's speaking of KubeCons, so we'll be having this meeting next week. The same Meshery development meeting, the one that we're in right now, we'll have it next Wednesday. There is another KubeCon coming up and another KubeCon coming up, a couple of them. And so Yash, Mr. Sharma, you've been, do you want to say a couple of words about how we're trying to organize around the other ones?
Yeah, sure. First of all, if you have definitely go check out the KubeCon, if you are around in the KubeCon, there is awesome session will be going on. And we will be having KubeCon India in about a month. So we will be doing informal gathering for the Meshery. At least that's what I'm planning to do for Meshery maintainers and Meshery contributors. So there are maintenance summit and like other sessions are there. So if you are coming to the KubeCon India, to make sure that you are connecting with maintainers. I will share the details, how you can connect with Meshery maintainers and contributors in the Slack so that you can connect. And also we are planning to have some talks for KubeCon Europe of 2025. So if you are interested in, let's say, helping in the submission of the talk, if you are interested in submitting the talk and want to review the talk and talk about Meshery, definitely reach out to anyone. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to community managers in the DFI, and we will try to help you to have that opportunity. If you have any other ideas, we are always there for the brainstorm that.
Thank you, yes. And so, yeah, there are a couple of places where you can talk about. So, talk about this, and that is our Slack workspace. So if you have not yet, joined the Slack workspace, the link for that will be in chat. Then you also can talk, discuss these on our community forum. So I'll be dropping that link as well in chat. Yep. So thank you for this announcement, Lee and Yash. Next up, we have this scarf adoption item from Ian. So I'll be taking a look if we have them on call. And yeah. So Ian, do you mind talking about this?
Yeah, let me share my screen. Yeah, so I posted a link to the issue and I just posted some of my findings. So just for a little bit of background from last week, we were looking at Scarf as a tool that is free to use for cloud native projects. And it is specifically looking at kind of analytics and tracking for our project. So I just wanted to flash some of the functionalities. So Scarf particularly boasts the ability to track like downloads of the software. So this is even like Docker polls, those sort of things, or interactions with any of your web artifacts through image-based telemetry versus cookies. You can also send custom metrics to this dashboard here, and I just captured this off their marketing page here. So this is kind of what it would look like. You can see how many downloads, how many unique downloads, and these are all kind of estimates. They say it's not necessarily like exact numbers, so it's kind of taken with a grain of salt. But you can kind of get some metrics on how your project is doing. Any questions kind of at a high level of the functionalities there?
Yeah, so far not compelling.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but the ability to send in a custom event, I wonder to what extent I suppose you're able to give maybe that event a name and then
Yeah, so Yeah, and I pushed I joined their Slack thread and kind of pushed them a little bit on to see what we could send. So this is kind of an example that they had. So you can have like a custom URL, and then all these are just key value pairs, which you could put anything on there. So one thing from last week, we were kind of talking about like success or airflows on customer experiences. So these could be, sent, on success and some sort of flow that we could name. And you can filter that in this dashboard, but I pushed them for a picture of what that would look like on some sort of dashboard. They didn't necessarily send that. So if this is interesting, I found this is the custom tracking or custom telemetry kind of the most useful or most interesting aspect of Scarf. And if you all think that that is interesting enough, I could schedule like a call with them and see if I could get in more details and see if the use cases are really kind of niche down this initial finding into a specific use case if we had that. So
Yeah, do you get what do you guys think? Like, Ian, for my part, this particular aspect of Scarf's value add could be, well, it's awfully tempting, and it's well, and it's also well, a little underwhelming. Not to be negative toward Scarf, but rather just to point out, like, well, I want to give an example, like, I don't know. Anyway, it's not a holistic answer to this a solution of like analytics for users, um, common patterns of usage. Maybe no one ever touches this area of the tool, and so no one's finding value, or maybe or maybe there are back-end errors that are occurring that, like, I'm sure that we can send from the back end to this same endpoint, or this is a front end example using Axios to send to to there. The freedom to send over whatever key value pairs you like is quite flexible, but also quite easy to get yourself in a bind where you're not you accidentally create a bunch of different types of events because you spelled it differently in one area than the next, and like um
yeah.
I guess I need a little more coffee, but it's like
It's,
I mean,
it seemed like a lot of effort for maybe not a lot of insights. And yeah, as you say, like you would have to have some sort of wrapper around, kind of unifying your events instead of sending a bunch to make that dashboard, meaningful so that you could filter on a certain known set of successes or flows or whatever you want to term those. So yeah, it seemed like a lot of effort, but this is one of the value adds. So we could let this kind of stew, over the next little while.
yeah, I
I
mean,
didn't see value in the other aspects.
yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, it's not Scarf's fault per se, but the challenge of anonymous. Well, the challenge of maintaining anonymity makes it a challenge to provide insightful insights. I mean, having said that, though, if you go put a Google Analytics tag on a site, um, there's tons of analytics that come out of it, and it's still anonymous. The traffic was from here, it was for this long, it went to that page, and then this page, and there's quite a few metrics against it while being anonymous. I wonder if this is like I wonder if they don't have different echelons or different plans, or if this is like the starter capability. Maybe there's more. I'll give an example of where just this ability to send in a single custom metric um, is, well, can be quite helpful, and is something that we're doing today. So one of the projects that is that's in Meshery's ecosystem is the service mesh performance. Service mesh performance. Oh man, I can't believe I had a hard time remembering the name of the project for a second. Service mesh performance specification. This particular project, it helps I need more coffee. It does what it says on the page. And I'm tired. But part of what it does is track how many times people have used this specification and run a performance test. And it just keeps a tally of that. And so there's this nice metric here on this page. This same metric is also on Meshery.io. I think it's maybe under Meshery.io/features, which at some point maybe somebody will uplift because these features don't really cover all that Meshery does. But I thought down here, good, 149,225. 149. Great. These sites must be getting this information either pushed to them in the same way or they're retrieving it from the same place. And they're both retrieving it from the same place. So Sangram Roth is on the call right now. He's been working on the remote provider that a lot of us sign into when we go to use Meshery. That remote provider, the very first two events or statistics, analytics that it would track for Meshery as a project. One was just how many times do people run a test? This is interesting. And we can, as a project, as this project and as Meshery sort of measure the success and the use of it. So it's like, no, someone actually got the software, configured a test, ran a test. I think we ran a test a week ago when we last met, or was it the week before? Sudhanshu was showing some fixes that he had made. He was going to collaborate with Yash, but Yash was off gallivanting somewhere else. And anyway, we ran a performance test on the call. Any chance I get to harass Yash, I'm going to do it. And when you run a test, we send over a small metric. Ian, just super long-winded way of saying, actually, sort of as a one-off, not necessarily a holistic plan and overview of who all is using it and all these various, how many tweets were sent out that tag Meshery and how many Docker downloads and if we're not thinking of Scarf as that holistic platform, but perhaps a free platform approved by the CNCF to track, a couple of specific statistics. And maybe, then maybe there's just value just in that small box. Maybe there's more beyond it as we go to learn more about Scarf. If Scarf was there before and we had started to use it, then the project wouldn't have to shell out some money to AWS every month to pay for tracking this metric. And it does a few other things. So it's not just there for this. The second custom event that occurs here, if last time or any of the times that you all have used Meshery, there were two initial sort of analytics, if you will, that Meshery would capture. That first one we just mentioned is just like how many times do people run a performance test? Cool, that's great. We it's like driving by McDonald's. It's billions and billions of crappy hamburgers served, right? It's like 150,000 performance tests run. If as a user you go in and look at your preferences, this is built into Meshery's preferences. You're able to we'll turn on and off like these two events. So this first one is like, nope, I don't want to send an anonymous bump in that number, like another performance test run. The second one is, I don't want to send, once I've run my performance test, I don't want to pass along those results. For those that have passed along those results, and so that would be potentially a different custom Scarf event. To be honest, as I think through this, like, it's more of a pain in the rump to go change it out and go use Scarf for this, as opposed to just using what we already have, which is also integrated with a bunch of other things inside of Meshery, which is outside of you sending it anonymously. you're able to keep it in your user profile. So if this guy signs in, oops, and wants to go back to some of his older performance scans, then he can and pull them up. And it's they're transmitted anonymously as well, so that like let's say that we sent over not just the count of the fact that a performance test was run, but we also sent over the results to Scarf. Well, this dashboard for Service Mesh performance, those anonymous results are sent here, tracked, and then graphed and shown back to users that visit the site and want to compare and understand, performance characterization. If we were sending these to Scarf, well, we'd want to retrieve that, yeah, then we probably wouldn't be retrieving them and showing them here. Shoot, okay, having said all of that, that still doesn't mean that there aren't any, I don't know, there aren't any number of other things that we might want to track. I'll say one last thing and then shut up. If, as an example of something that might be kind of nice to track as a sort of a single metric that maybe stands alone and is relevant to the entire Meshery project, it might be that when you go to sign into Meshery, when you first deploy Meshery locally and it pulls up that provider UI, and you get that drop down of like, what provider do you want to use? That could be an opportunity for sending out just a single metric that says X number of people, X number of people or X number of times someone has signed in with this provider versus that provider. It could be it's sort of the provider UI itself kind of stands alone, so to speak. It's its own single page. And yeah, I don't know. And it could be easy enough to even use like that Axios, more coffee. I can't finish my sentences, but yeah. Who else has thoughts on that? Who else? You guys think about it? You guys think it's like, let's say that we did have the metric that I was just referring to. Is that helpful at all? Or like potentially, assuming that Scarf were to let projects retrieve the metrics real time, potentially the provider UI where that dropdown is, it could be enhanced to like show popularity or show, I guess it would be popularity is what people would assume. I don't know if that's helpful to users or not.
Thanks, Lee. So, yep, there's this link from Ian. So I'll be dropping that in chat just in case someone wants to take a look. So we are missing these two individuals, Hosanna and Divyans. I have informed them in Slack. So if they join, we'll be covering their items. But for now, let's take this fixed Messenger CTL update from Kevin, who is on the call. So Kevin, do you mind going next, sharing your screen and giving your update?
Yeah, sure. I am sharing my screen. Okay, so the issue is like about to validate the log of the adapter deploy, Meshery CTL adapter deploy. Actually, the issue is about to validate the entire log of the adapter.go file, but actually from the issue description in the starting and currently whatever I have updated, I have just focused on one command, and that is what about to deploy. So I just have made changes in the PR over here only. That what is happening is then the adapter is not getting validated, but still the process is continuing. We were logging the error. So if I will show you, it will look something like the required mesh is not found, but the process is like not stop. It is continuing. So that's why the entire logging is disrupted. So as a simple solution, I just have written the error over here. But today, like I have realized that it is not the only case that logging is breaking over here. I think I have to uh, look at entire file because the same thing is happening over here. That if the mesh name is also not good, like if mesh name is also like something like just link, so the same case is happening over here, which I have actually missed and realized that today. So I have to update that as well. So this was the current update of the issue that I am working on. And a part of this, I also want to share that I don't know if everyone is aware about this or not, but like if I come to the extensions page and let's suppose if I enable the adapter istio, then it will show that adapter is enabled. But when I go to adapters and try to select, I didn't see that. So that is what from my side. And if this issue, if I am making mistake in this, let me know. Because if I go again to extensions, this is again disabled.
Okay. Ian, to begin with the first one, the first update that you had regarding the logs of the Meshery CTL adapter. So the final ask is to just fix that particular adapter and to have it connected directly. And so the logs needs to be fixed, that it shouldn't show that the Meshery adapter has been successfully deployed in your infrastructure. Rather, it should be if the process failed, so it should log out something that the infrastructure adapter failed or something. A nice sentence notifying the user that this particular process failed. And secondly, the
Okay.
thing that you are talking about, the returning of errors and everything. So open up a PR and so whenever you have done your changes, open up a PR beneath that particular issue, and someone from the team would review your PR, probably Pranjal or anyone, and then will merge that particular PR. So
Oh,
that's the update on the first issue. Then the second issue, the adapter one issue. So try to debug it if you think that's an issue. So please, you can please open up a GitHub issue in the Meshery repo, and then anyone or you yourself could take up the issue and fix it.
yeah, sure. I will give the time because I have faced that similar in playground as well. So I will open that up.
Yeah. So
Okay. Thank you.
thank you, Ian.
Thank you, Shlok.
Guys,
And
yeah, guys, the second one is definitely an issue. Like it's an issue from a couple of different perspectives. The one perspective is that Meshery would be deployed on Kubernetes. And so the ability for Meshery to deploy one of its own containers, one of its own adapters, like this should be one of the simplest things for Meshery to do, deploy a container. I think that on Kubernetes, it does do so successfully. But in terms of the state being kept inside of the UI, that's a second portion to the challenge, to that user experience that's occurring. So Kevin, hopefully that makes sense. That second bit. Do you
Yes.
find that if the adapter is deployed, that the extension switch is perpetually on or off?
So like when we on, then in adapter, I didn't find anything.
That doesn't, I don't, that's not, I'm gonna strangle you. What? No, it,
I'm sorry.
so, yeah, well, I know it's my lack of being awake as well. But we spent like hours on this with other contributors. I don't, Kevin, to be blunt, I don't think you're gonna fix it. And I question whether or not it's worth the time. What a terrible thing for me to say, but it's the truth. Kevin, do you do front end?
Yeah, a bit of like I know React very well, React actually, but I don't have any experience in like programming in front end. But I
Wait,
can handle it. The entire thing is I
I'm
can do
totally
it.
confused, man. Did you say you know React very well, but you have no experience with front end? Because
No,
I
yeah,
just
I
blew
mean,
my mind.
I have I have never worked ever in like any issue regarding front end or it, but I practiced about projects and all that thing. So that is what I am mentioning.
Okay. Oh, I think so. Are we on candid camera? Like somebody's pulling a prank on me. I don't know what we're saying right now. Like,
I
oh,
am not
Kevin.
connected.
Oh,
I am
my
not
friend.
connected with my background.
Yeah. Well, hey, on the if you do me a favor, if you're in the Meshery playground, so that Meshery instance, it's hosted, obviously hosted by the project. The deployment inside of Meshery Playground is that it's before I verbally explain it, I'll say that it's diagrammed inside of the Meshery architecture Google Slides. So there's a slide that visualizes what I'm about to say, and it is pretty straightforward. There's a bare metal server that Meshery is deployed to. That bare metal server just has a Docker engine. So Meshery is deployed to Docker using Docker Compose. So the playground that we all use, hopefully often, Meshery is running inside of Docker as the platform. Okay. When it is deployed, a certain number of adapters are turned on. I think like 4. And my question to you is as you go to try to qualify the behavior that you're seeing, particularly around turning on or off a switch on the extension screen, is to know and understand whether or not the adapter is really running or not, because the UI, that UI isn't tracking state from refresh to refresh, I don't think. Every time that Meshery refreshes, Meshery UI is a new page is pulled up, Meshery server goes out and does a quick ping to all of its adapters. And so in that sense, you don't necessarily need to have a cached state of whether or not an adapter is up and running or not. And so that can be very good because that way you don't have to deal with state being out of old and stale. Kevin, are you with me so far?
Yes, yes, I am.
Now, you're looking at Meshery CTL and the ability to for Meshery CTL to interact with a Meshery adapter as well. So now you're looking at it from both sides, from the Meshery UI, that client, and Meshery CTL, this other client, both talking to Meshery server, asking Meshery server to do things with adapters, with other container, it's adapters, it's other containers. And in the extensions UI, that means literally deploying or stopping a Meshery adapter container. And Meshery should be doing that just fine when it's deployed on Kubernetes. When Meshery is deployed to Docker as a platform, I don't know that, or I do know that our Meshery server, the code inside of Meshery CTL and the code inside of Meshery server is challenged based on 2 things as it goes to interact with the with the Docker engine. One is permissions, because that's super naughty and dangerous, that one container can go spawn a bunch of other containers, like a virus and a worm, and go do things. So that's a privileged level that Meshery needs to be at. That's one concern and one challenge that gets in the way of the project. The second thing that happens is just like when you use kubectl, you have your kube config. Your kube config might have any number of different clusters described that kubectl can connect to, different Kubernetes clusters. So those are different contexts, different Kubernetes contexts that you can connect to. Well, that term context is popular in Meshery as a project. In the mesh config, you can list a number of different Meshery deployments for your Meshery CTL tool to use. And there's a context switcher, right? There's Meshery CTL system context, and you can switch between them because you can manage a bunch of different Meshery deployments, just like kubectl can manage a bunch of different Kubernetes deployments. Well, just like Docker CLI has Docker context. So your Docker CLI can manage many different Docker engine deployments. And that's the second challenge for Meshery CTL or Meshery server, that it needs to be cognizant of Docker contexts and which context it needs to interact with. So, those are just, there's a couple of backend things to be aware of as you look at, oh, hey, like literally, is this container being deployed? Is Meshery able to deploy this container? And if it is or isn't, one of the very first things that you're able to, I think, confidently help the project on is doing what Shlok was sort of reinforcing. I think the thing that you're pointing out, and it's like handling that error and letting the user know it was successful or it wasn't from the CTL interface. But then from the UI, you want to do the same thing. You want to let them know, like, oh, we couldn't deploy it. And it should be a synchronous request. And we should be sending some of those events, like right when you turn on, like, I don't know why you're not, Kevin, if you're still sharing the extensions UI, when you turn on that switch and you immediately get notification back saying such and such adapter being deployed or has been deployed or something that's a lot, like it's just a lie right to your face. Right? Adapter deployed. Oh, no, it's not. That needs to be sent to the notification center. Just notification that your request has been received, and Meshery server is now attempting to process the provisioning of the adapter. And then after that succeeds or fails, Meshery server needs to send another update, another notification saying that it failed or succeeded. But so, Kevin, what do you think?
Actually, in notification center, I am not aware. What I was thinking is when I have enabled the adapter, I can quick see the left side down that adapter is enabled. So I just quickly go to their adapter section to deploy it. This process is actually very long, and I have to understand also.
I hate it when I'm right. Okay. Alrighty.
Thanks, Lee and Kevin. So it looks like Pratik is next up with his loading his screen text issue fix. So Pratik, are you all set to share your screen?
Hello, Vivek.
Yeah, hi, please go ahead.
Right now I'm not. I can't share my screen. So can you please open the PR ones? It's just a small bug. I was working. So I was working on a PR that solves the issue with the loading screen logo text. Basically, the text Meshery, it was always showing dark, like black. So we just need to change some CSS. That's all. and Lee suggested me some changes to use assistant and all. So that's all. I will update the PR after the meeting.
Thanks. So I have dropped this link to the PR in chat.
Yeah,
So
if anyone have any questions, and or that's all from my end today.
yeah, thank you, Pratik. So let's wait for 5 seconds if anyone has any feedback or thoughts.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so thank you for your update. Next up, looks like we have Anuj. So Anuj, like if I'm not wrong, did we already cover this in previous calls?
Yes, sir. We covered this last week also.
Yeah, so what update do you have from the last call, if you could share?
I wanted to just talk with Ian to confirm few things, but he has left now, so I don't think it's more needed to talk anymore.
All right, so maybe that you can reach out to him in Slack channel. So I've dropped the PR's link in chat, and you can talk to him in Slack.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so then Slok, you are up next.
Yeah, so first issue was regarding the name, the design name getting always set to auto-generated. So it was just a small fix that the file name was not properly passed, and sometimes if you provide the file name directly, so uh, it was not getting passed inside the function. So this PR fixed that particular bug. And then there was an ask for generating an old Kubernetes component that was pod security policy. So I manually generated that particular component and added it inside the server mesh model folder. And I need Ankita to develop two SVGs, or develop an SVG for pod security policy, because currently it's using the priority class SVG. So we need an SVG, and then we need to update the sheet.
Got that. I'll take a note of it and update that.
Yeah, so these were the updates I had.
Thank you, Shlok. So we'll wait for 5 seconds if anyone has any feedback. All right, so let's go ahead. And then we have these two updates from Jerens. So Jerens, can you please share your update?
So, yeah, currently I'm working with the end-to-end test case in Playwright. So basically this PR because we have like a tracer, but it's not available. So yeah, I changed some of the configuration for the test case to make it on. So yeah, I will take like feedback. Maybe we can change using red tile of on Filer, because like we don't have like using retry. So mostly when we try on first retry, it will not work. And another update is I'm for a design. I'm added so before we doing a test in this site, we are providing the test case. So the PR is already marked 1 hour ago, so there are no test case like around the tower. And yeah, it's basically what it does is make the test case, the design private before doing all of the test case, and then later it will clean up also. But it have like make like around like 4 or 5 tests is filing, so I will fix it later for the filing test case. And that's my update. Any feedback regarding of the test case or question?
Oh yeah, I guess real quick, the reason that those 5 or so test cases are failing isn't because the functionality is broken. More, it's just because you're in the process of cleaning up the tests once they're done. Oh, okay, just clarifying. So, Jerens, do you know, are we at like how many end-to-end tests where are we now?
In the canvas we have like around 28, but it's not like count also the smoke test and like some of the cleanup because it can be separate test. Like when you doing like a cleanup, we do like sharing and make it to the private as well, and then we using the deletion as well. So it's not count as a test but as the cleanup. But we maybe for like 30.
Okay, I got you. But then I guess just for everyone else's understanding and maybe for their collaboration as well, it was maybe a month ago or so. I think you had informed everyone and sort of discussed the idea that there were test cases that will take the pencil and do a drawing, or take the pen and do a drawing, or take that basically there were test cases that were starting to test each of the annotation capabilities and some of the, excuse me, not just that, but also that there were tests that are now asserting and verifying each of the 8-ish styles of relationships, that each of those are behaving as they should. And we had talked about how important and critical that is. Are we still in the same position where each of those 8 is being tested?
Oh yeah, the relationship test case is not impacted. It's mostly like for the signing test. So all is still up and early.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, great. Yeah, those are important. Great. Do we know, I'm curious, do we know, is anybody else on the call? Is anyone else here working on end-to-end tests? Is there other playwright work that's going on? Jaren's one of the latest, I think there are 2 recent areas that you've been working on for end-to-end tests. One of those is what you just mentioned, like they want tests are run all the time. And so you're working on making sure that any artifacts that are left residual after the test is complete, that those artifacts are deleted and cleaned up so that we keep a clean environment. But the second area of recent work has to do with like whenever the playground is deployed, whenever a new Meshery release is made and the playground is updated, that the playground environment or the canvas.new environment, that those are both automatically, a test user automatically signs in. And do you want to talk about what type of a test that is or what's being done?
Basically, like there are 2 test cases, and one as you added is checking the version. So basically, for the canvas, we wait for the rollout. After the rollout of canvas, and we do like the test case. So for the playground, we waiting after the release of the playground. So after like the release, we trigger the test case.
Nice. Yeah, good. I think you end up that classifies as like a smoke test then. So okay. Good. Is that the only smoke test that we have thus far? I wonder, is that the only one that we need?
We can add any feedback regarding to it, like other test on the smoke, other type.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I don't know. You think about it. It could be that maybe we'd like to make sure that someone's able to log in, that at some point, maybe we would check to see that the version of the extensions packages that was downloaded matches, what it should. Are you checking for that right now?
Yep, I already add them also.
Oh, nice. Okay, nice. That's great. Yeah, good. Okay.
Thanks, Lee and Jaren. So I have some updates that I'll be quickly sharing. So I was assigned to this issue that differentiating between annotations and orchestrated models. So for everyone's context, on docs.meshery.io in integrations, we have this couple of models listed, and each of them has their individual pages. So a couple of them are just annotations. For example, AWS AWS. So, this is its individual page. So it's just annotation. And so we could use this property that is annotation and to differentiate it. But we don't have that metadata in docs.mesh.io. So I updated the meshctl functions to add that field. And then whatever with these changes, I ran rest republish, and then whatever was the result, I pushed that too. So in order to show you like the differentiating factor that I'm doing. So this is the model preview of this PR, and this looks something like this. I'm not 100% like done with the way I will differentiate the grouping, but yeah. In this long list, so basically there are only two models that are just annotation. So AWS and GCP one, as a result of the Meshery run. So this one is this is how it will look like in the list, and then if you once go to its dedicated individual page, it will show this chip. But I'm not sure whether or not it's just enough to have this kind of differentiation, or if we would benefit from just having another group. So I will be looking for feedback on that one. But yeah, basically there are two different PRs up on this thing. Not entirely ready to merge, but yeah, anyone has any feedback? All right, so then we'll move on to the
Wait,
next.
I got a question. I got a question and feedback. Yep. Well, just a question. You're trying to mark the difference between one model and a different model, and what's the difference?
Okay, so basically, like we have this front matter available in Meshery for models in Meshery CTL, and that is easy annotation. So all of them, I populated them all with this property is annotation. It can be shown in this docs PR, and based on that, if it's true.
Yeah, wait, stop. Actually, sorry, I should. Hey, pretend that I don't know, if you would. Pretend that I'm a user asking you, what does this mean? I see that there's this thing called annotation next to this. What does that mean?
Yeah, so it could be that we are just showing it for the sake of displaying all its component, and it's not the actual entity that's orchestrated by Meshery. So
Okay.
it has called.
I kind of get that. I get that just because I know that actually a better thing that I should be asked. I was trying to ask it so that everybody else on the call could understand, because there's some folks I don't think that know what the difference between the models are. So it'd be great if they did, but actually maybe the way to make this conversation fruitful is to ensure that whatever denotation you're using, if it's an annotation, that's hyperlinked and people can understand the difference between the two.
Okay.
And it probably wouldn't just be annotate. It might be like annotation only or something, and maybe you would assign that same visual denotation to each of the components as well. Maybe, it could get super ugly. I wouldn't use red. Red is naughty. Our annotation is naughty. Or are they going to receive a Christmas gift this year?
Yeah, okay. So we probably could have a docs page on this that we can hyperlink to when someone clicks on it. And yep, I'll make sure that I update the background color.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, there's a page that describes semantic versus non-semantic components. And so maybe we would lean into, maybe we would try to have them using some of the same verbiage. Excuse me, do other people have ideas about how to, it might be nice, like if they were separated, there's a list of models that are orchestrated with orchestratable components. And then there's a list of 7 models that are, or 8 maybe, since Ankita and some others added some more, that are separate. That might also be very clarifying. Thoughts? Something to think about. You Sloke, any feedback on the Meshery CTL command that you'd written that has been changed?
No, I don't think it has changed, but Vivek, just to make sure that there are 7 or 8 annotations, not 2.
No, so after that, I updated these. I like all the models were updated in docs.measure.io, but only these two had true, value for ISO notation. So you can actually take this down and can run the command.
Okay, I'll see the Meshery command then why it's not showing us annotation. And I'll
Or
share
in-
it.
Yeah, or in the spreadsheet, perhaps in that column, they're not marked. So, yeah. Hey, Vivek, this is great, man. This is exactly what I was hopeful for.
Yeah, all right. So
Christmas.
thank you, Lee. So then next up, we will have this set of updates from Ankita. So Ankita, do you mind sharing these quickly?
Try to wrap it up within the next 2 minutes. So the first one is regarding the connection ID undefined error that we were having when a user clicks on this. So that has been fixed and merged. The second one is the Meshery performance page migration that was left. So that has been done. The theming has been set and it's up. There are after careful evaluation, there are 2 pages that are left here. That's the settings and the user preferences. Once these two are done, all of these pages and those two, like mostly all of Meshery's components and pages would be done. Then we can sit together, evaluate, and remove snippets that we don't want from MUI v4. That's the status with this PR and update. And then it's a call to action or a call for volunteers for all the folks present on call. For the past 2 weeks, we are having this initiative or a sort of issue that we have where we want everyone who is new or experienced to come up and take a look at the different features that we tend to offer, use them, utilize them, and create templates that new users can use. So we still have a bunch of issues that are open, and it would be great if people who are interested come up, let us know that they're interested, and share queries that they have so that we can help them create new templates. And that we do have a contributor today who is Taylor. I am not sure if I don't think he's on this call, but he has about 2 templates that are up. One of them is published, which is a brainstorming template, which you all can take a look at here. So if you want to create a brainstorming chart with Meshery, you can do it, and he has steps present here. We'll probably try making it more user-friendly so that it's easier for you to navigate. But this is the template, and can we take a quick moment and applaud him for the hard work that he's done? For folks up here, you could also be someone who could be applauded, cheered for in the next call. So please feel free, and I'd highly encourage you to go ahead and take up an issue and help us creating new templates. And the last thing on my plate was we do have this Kubernetes pod exploring how do you set this up, how do you configure it, a tutorial ready for it, which has also probably been up on the tutorial section. So if there's anyone who wants to try out how to set up a pod and how to configure it, feel free to go through it and do let us know if there is a scope for improving it further. Thank you, everyone. That's all that I had for the day.
Thank you, Ankita, for your update. So I'll be sharing my screen once again. So we are 1 minute over the time, and before we wrap up the call, I'll be sharing with you all this community calendar. So all the meetings that we have weekly, they are all available on this calendar. So if you subscribe to it, it will send you all the meeting timings. We have a newcomers call tomorrow, Thursday. So if you're someone who wants to take an overview on the projects and community, you can check that out. I'll be dropping this link in chat. And yeah, with that, once again, thank you for joining and discussing your updates. If you are working on any item in Meshery, you can get feedback. If you present them on next dev call, that would be next Wednesday. So yep, we'll see you then. Till then, bye.
Thanks, Vivek. See ya.